Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of our podcast. Is breakfast included? I really hope so. How you guys doing? Good? Today on the show, I sit down with my good buddy, Felix Threadgill. Now, Felix is our audio tech out here on tour, and I knew I wanted to talk to Felix from the minute I met him, and he told me with fear in his eyes, this is my first tour ever. Anyway, he's been doing a great job out here. We talked about his band. We talked about his expectations of touring, how we got into this, cricket, and of all bands, we talked about Hanson. Anyway, we had a lot of fun with this, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's check it out. Tell everyone who you are.
Hi, I'm Felix Threadgill. I'm the audio technician on Duran Duran Summer Festivals tour. I'm 31. Yeah, only came into the industry kind of professionally in 2020.
Yeah.
So that's when I first became like a proper freelancer. Before that, I was just working in, small venues and doing sound for small bands and stuff like that.
Well, how'd you get into it? Where are you from originally?
I'm from London, South London. Grew up in Stockwell, South London. And then I just played in bands, really.
And that's how you got into this whole life?
Got into it and loved the idea of recording the band. And like since probably 14, 15, just finding different ways to do that. Had a little Tascam. What was it, Porter Studio?
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah. Porter Track or something
yeah,
like that?
Yeah. Just had two inputs, and I was always like having to bounce it down and then rebounce, like an old two-track tape machine. And then I think my brother got like Fruity Loops in maybe 2006. And so just went
from there. Do you come from a musical family? Like
my brother, oldest brother, is the guitarist in the band, in my band, in our band, and my middle brother is the drummer.
Oh, you guys are like Hanson.
Yeah, kind of like Hanson. Kind of like. I mean, I know it's radio, but I've been compared to the guy from Hanson.
Have you?
The little guy, yeah. Okay. That's funny, actually. I used to play cricket when I was a kid, when I was like 14, 15, and I had long blonde hair, like the Hanson guy. Mm-hmm. And it was like a posh cricket club in Dulwich, like really well-to-do area, all private schools. And I was the only kid there that was not going to private school. I was going to a state regular school. And they picked on me. I wasn't part of the clique, but they used to call me Hanson Boy. Right, because I looked like Hanson, and I thought they were calling me Handsome Boy, like I was a handsome little boy. I was like, "Oh, thank you." I didn't know that they were making fun of me. I was like, "Oh, these guys are nice."
I think I'm handsome.
Yeah. Ever since then, man, 14, 15, recording with the band, wanting to get it better and better, and it wasn't until maybe 2012 when I was 22, and I was asked to go and mix a band. I'd never mixed a band live before, and I'd been asked to go and mix a band for like an Oxfam festival in London, and just went and did it, and I was like, hey, this is great, I love it, and then just went from there, man.
Right on.
Yeah.
When I was before I toured, I used to do I used to book bands at a venue, and then I would work security for my shows. And I remember the front of house guy, who I referred to as the sound guy.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, my monitor guy isn't going to show up tonight. Can you mix monitors?" He said, "I'll set everything and I'll mark. You just turn this up." And I didn't know. I said, "Yeah, it's an extra $100 to know."
Yeah.
And the band, it wasn't even a local band, it was a national band, a band called Devil Driver.
Right.
This metal band. And the tour manager said, "Now, in the middle of the show, he's going to look over and yell at you to turn the monitors up. It's all part of the show.
Okay.
He said, don't freak out, right? The guy kept looking over going like, turn my monitors up, turn my fucking monitor. I looked down and everything was muted. I was like, oh. So when I did turn them on, everything was just like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
All right, man. So you, that's what got you, though. I didn't mean to hijack your conversation.
No.
That's what got you your start in interest in audio. So do you still play?
Yeah. So me and my two brothers and my best mate from school, we still play in a band, still, recording when we can. And I'm mixing an album for it at the moment. And I'm just, you do a load of mixes and then you go, oh yeah, I'm happy with that. And then you wait for a bit and then you listen to them back and you're like, I'm going to have to go and just, So I'm in that phase of going.
Do you think the more time you have doing it, the more perfect you want it to be?
Yeah. It's, what is it? Who is it said? You never finish a poem, you just walk away. It's the same as that with a mix. You never finish a mix, you just walk away.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to walk away yet because we haven't got like a deadline. We're not doing it to a label. It's not like we've got anyone on our backs going, oh, you got to finish this.
Are the rest of the guys in the band going, come on?
Yeah, well, but it's at the same time, we need to, it's not just the mixes that need to be finished. We need to sort out, if we're going to release an album, we need to sort out marketing and sort out artwork and sort out track listing and all of that stuff and work out a way that we're going to have people listen to it, so it's not only the mix, it's not just my job, although most of the other stuff is my job as well.
So you started doing audio sound in local venues for local bands, got into it. What brought you to where you are now? Like, how did you get what they call the pro gig?
Yeah. So I was mixing and managing a pub in South London for a few years, and I was on the side doing mixing jobs, and all that time I was kind of getting a bit more tired of having to do all of the pub stuff, and just didn't seem like there was an end goal to being at the pub, And, I had a chat with my family and I was like, what can I do? I was going through that thing. I was 26, 27. I was like, I can't just do this for the rest of my life. I need to find something else that I actually like doing. And they're like, well, what about music? You've always loved music. Why don't you try and get into studios, try and get into live sound? And it was like, I'd love to do studios. I still love studio work. But it just seemed like at the time there was only money in live. And, it was like live music is never going to go away. It's always going to be there. There's always going to be loads of money in it. Yeah. And so I was like, went into it. I had a contact at Britannia Row, this big company in the UK, who's owned by Clare Brothers in the US. Yeah. And they're like,
Claire bought them during the pandemic, correct?
They bought them in 2014, 2015, so earlier than that. But Claire also
bought Eighth Day Sound.
Eighth Day, that's it.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, and it's like, that they're doing all right when they do a multi-million-dollar merger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started out there in the warehouse and got on really well, and they put me onto their apprenticeship. It's like a 2-year course where you're working 5 days a week in the warehouse, learning how all the warehouse goes together. And then on the Saturday or the Sunday, you have a training day. So you've either got lectures or you've got like a practical session. So did that for 18 months and then lockdown. And then, so at the start of lockdown, they cancelled all of the teaching and they had everyone still going in and working. And it got more and more like, okay, well, we'll do a few days of working and everyone else, like, doing in different shifts to stop everyone mingling together.
Yeah.
to the point where they just had to furlough everyone. So I was furloughed at the start. So that was March 2020 until November 2020, when they had to just make a load of people redundant, including me and the other apprentices and quite a lot of people that have been there for a long time. So, I wasn't upset about that at all. It was, just how it had to be. But the upshot of that was that because I had basically finished all of the training, I was ready to finish the course, and I could finish 6 months early. It was meant to be 2 years, and I had finished it 18 months.
Okay.
After 18 months. And so I was just kind of shot out into the freelance world. But then there was no jobs.
Yeah.
So I was, doing what I had to. I was going back and doing kids football training that I've done since I was like 18. Which, luckily there's always, even throughout a pandemic and a lockdown, there's always parents that want their kids to run around outside. So luckily I was doing like one-on-one sessions with like 5 and 6 year olds, and that got me through it to start off with. And then stuff started coming back, and started working in a few venues, and started getting actual freelance work with Britannia Row.
Yeah.
And that's how I got this gig, the Duran gig.
Okay.
It's through Britannia Row.
Let me take you back. You've mentioned cricket. You've mentioned football. Have you always been very athletic?
Yeah, I mean...
Is it something you may have wanted to do other than music?
Yeah, but again, I think to get far with athletic pursuits, you got to have like serious drive and serious, like, get up at 6 in the morning.
Sleep,
yeah.
What is cricket, if you don't mind me asking?
Cricket, oh man. Cricket is a game of gods. It's great. It's 11 people to a side. And the purest form is test match cricket. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So that's 5 days, up to 5 days, playing against the same people in the same ground. And so you have two batting innings, where everyone has a bat, and the other team is bowling. So you got a bowler, you have a wicket keeper behind, and the idea is you got to bounce the ball, and it's got to either hit the wickets, which are 3 sticks with a couple of other sticks on top, or he's got to hit it and you can catch it, or you can hit him on his legs in front of the wicket. So if the ball was on its trajectory going to hit the wicket and it hits his leg in front of the wicket, then he can be given out for that. Or if he hits it and he tries to do a run, and then you hit the wickets, like in baseball, you hit the base before he gets back.
Oh, okay.
Then he's out.
Josh Blair.
Oh, yeah.
He's really into cricket.
Yeah, he's Australian.
Yeah.
Everyone that's Australian pretty much across is so antiquated and so steeped in like old folklore-y, weird nomenclature. Like, you have fielding positions like silly mid-on, short leg, yeah. You have gully, deep backward square leg, yeah. Cow corner, yeah. It's just, it's great. I love it. And
do you still play occasionally?
Occasionally, yeah. I play a couple of times a season for like an old boys team. Yeah. And there's in fact there's 70. He was in his 70s. He was playing with us last season, but he died recently, actually. But yeah, it's
right on.
It's
Do you demand they call you handsome boy?
I should. Now listen, guys.
I'll play on your team, but you got to call me handsome.
You got to call me handsome boy.
Well, let's get back to audio, man. You got your gig with Britannia Row.
Yeah.
Lockdown was lifted. Yeah. People started touring, and you're out here on Duran Duran. The reason I wanted to talk to you because I like you a lot, and you always say some interesting things. But this is your first tour. Yeah, this is your first time out on the road. Tell me what it's like for you, man. Is it what you thought it would be?
Yeah, it kind of is and it isn't really. When I was doing gigs and I was doing one-off shows, and I was doing fairly big shows, kind of the same role that I'm doing now, which is audio technician, plugging things in, making things work.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, this is so much effort for just one show. I just wish that we could have it all set up and it will all get rolled out and plugged in on a show, and then it get packed down again, and then the same thing gets rolled out again, next show. It was like touring is the answer for having things completely streamlined, and that's what I really like. I love like efficiency and making things work with as little time and effort as possible, just super slick.
Yeah.
I might not be very slick at the moment. Like, I'm not saying that that's what I'm like, because I literally just started it, but that's where I want to be.
That's your goal.
Have everything like clockwork.
Did they know
slick.
when you came onto this that this was your first tour?
So Britannia Road did, obviously, but who did I speak to first? I spoke to Joanne. So that's our production coordinator. And she was like, wow, this is your first tour? Oh my God, you're going to have a great time. It's good. Like, you know what she's like. She's
so positive.
Yeah, so positive, larger than life. And I was like, yeah, great. This is going to be great. And she was like, yeah, you're going to go on the bus for the first time. You're going to love the bus. And I was like, oh yeah, a bus. Shit. And because like I've always had travel sickness, right?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. I'm like, oh, I hate buses. I hate the coach. Like, I feel coach is like the lowest form of transport, man. It's like, I never want to be on a coach. And then I got onto the bus and I was like, oh, this is all right. I mean, I can't stand up apart from in the stairwell, and there's no windows. But it's like I just pop a pill.
Do you fit in your bunk okay?
Just about. I mean, I'm not massively tall. I'm 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah.
But just about. There's what I really like in the bed is just where my neck is. They've got a handy shelf. What is that shelf about? It's like a shelf to just get into the back of your neck. Yeah, it's not ideal. But yeah, I fit. It's, I can go on my side. I can go, yeah. It's all right. And my best, most glorious purchase that I've ever made has been some noise-cancelling headphones.
Oh, yeah.
It is just, I don't know how I'd live. Going on planes, going on this bus. Apparently, there are people around me that snore. I don't know.
They're mandatory on tour.
Yeah.
They should just hand them to you.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver.
And I've learned to sleep on my back so I don't roll over on
that's the thing. But then if you're sleeping on your back, like I've got my feet up against the end wall, and it's like onto that shelf.
So this is your first tour, your first bus. I'm not going to say your first ferries, but we've taken more ferries on this tour than I've ever taken on a tour.
Yeah.
Flights, catching last-minute flights. You were getting thrown into the wolves on your first tour.
Yeah, man. And that's the beauty of having what you guys would probably describe as quite a challenging tour as your first one, because this is just normal for me. I don't know any different. I don't know that things could be less last minute and manic or like any more completely smooth and perfect. I have no reference.
Yeah. Well, this is a hard tour, but it's
okay.
We've all done harder tours.
Yeah.
So but it's a good trial by fire for you, I think.
Yeah. Well, so the account manager at Britannia Row, this guy called Dave Compton, really nice guy, Australian. When I was doing the prep, and it was a hard prep as well. It was 2 days of prep in the workshop, when it probably should have been a third day. So the first day was just working out all of the information, like because we didn't get all of the information or not all of the correct information or something, I don't know. But basically, there was a whole day of me getting my head around the gig.
Yeah.
And then there was just one day left to like put it all together and make it work. It's like, we were staying until 10 o'clock at night in the guys at the shop. But he kept coming down and said, listen, Mike, this is a really big client. Just don't fuck it up. Just constantly. Listen, mate, just don't fuck it up. All right? This is really important. These guys are really fucking shit hot. Don't fuck it up. That's it. That is the lasting memory I have of prep with this, is just feeling so stressed and like, shit, it's my first tour. I really can't mess this up. And then I got on and it's like, I know what I'm doing. I know how it all works. There's no need to be completely stressed about it because it's gonna work.
Have you felt welcome?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Have you felt like you're supported?
Definitely, man. Yeah. I couldn't believe how much there was a disparity between how awful I thought it was going to be and how smoothly it's gone and how nice everyone is. Because you hear horror stories of people being just complete horrible people, especially to new people, and it's been great.
Yeah, I think it was the first day of rehearsal, and you told me this was your first tour.
Yeah.
And I just walked back to my work box thinking like, holy shit. This kid's never toured before.
Yeah.
But man, you've done a great job out here.
Thank you.
I work with you on a daily basis. We try and help you out as much as we can, but you seem to be the busiest person on stage.
Yeah. I think between me and Kev's got a lot to do.
I think everyone, there's been people on this gig that have been on it for a long time. And, we see audio technicians come and they stay for several tours and then they leave. So when someone new comes along, we know like, well, we need to get along. Yeah. We need to reach out and see what they need assistance on, because it's just you out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, those first few days of rehearsal, I was like, what? One person to do all of this? I was like, no way. I was like, and Joanne's partner, Melissa, was there just to...
Oh, the first day she
giving
came
it a
out
helping hand.
Yeah, shadowing people.
And shadowing. And I was like, oh my God, please stay. Please stay. Please come with us.
Yeah, we were hoping she would stay. We were really hoping that we could bring her on and have another, because she seemed so like enthusiastic and just helping everywhere.
Exactly, yeah. And that was it. The first day or the first couple of days, Chris Miller, the monitor guy, wasn't there. And so I was having to do all of the RF coordination as well. And, I can do it. It's not my forte, but I can do it. And, I can make it work, definitely. But Chris is a genius at RF.
Yeah.
He did, what was it? It was like 120 channels of RF at Coachella for Beyonce.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And he's constantly working on frequencies too.
Yeah. He is a genius, man. Yeah.
We talked about it a little, he and I, because the spectrum is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Digital TV is just, that really screwed everything for us.
Yeah. So do you have anything lined up after this? Are they already talking to you about another tour? Are you coming to the US? What is it?
So I'm not on the US. I think it's going to be a load of Claire guys over there, or they might ship people over. I'm not sure, but I'm not on the US thing. I don't have the right visas or anything. I was gonna go on to, there was like a last minute Simple Minds thing, and they were like, they need an extra pair of hands, like it's crazy, like can you jump on it straight after Duran? And I was like, yes, yeah, definitely can. And then they cancelled like the extra pair of hands, so I'm out again. But I mean, Britannia Row is super busy, so I'm just.
So after this, if there's no tour, you just go right back into the warehouse and.
No, I'm gonna be doing venue work.
Yeah.
Working. Yeah, there's a couple of really nice venues that I have worked at before.
A relationship with.
Exactly, yeah. And you go there and you get to push faders and, you mix bands and you go back to what it is that you're like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Like that flying by the seat of your pants thing where a band turns up an hour late and you got to get them on stage, get them sound checked, bang, 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 super fast, super efficient, get it done. That's kind of what I love. is that cut and thrust of it.
Yeah.
When you're happy with the surroundings that you're in, when you're in a venue that you know and you're with gear that you know, that's great. When you don't, when it's with gear that you don't know, and then the band turns up an hour late, and it's like, oh, you're fighting with a desk that you don't know, and you're fighting with a band that you don't know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
That's where it gets challenging. But yeah, what else? And well, I've got a company as well. I've got an audio company where we've got like a small stock of like mics and RF gear and a couple of small PAs that we kind of rent out for corporate stuff.
Okay.
So that's
we, as in you and
me and my business partner Joanny.
Okay.
Another guy from Britannia Row.
Okay.
He's really good at the business side. My expertise is more like mics and mixing and doing all that hands-on stuff. But yeah, he's good at RF as well, Joanny.
What's your ultimate goal in this? Do you want to keep touring? Do you want to pursue your music career, or do both?
I mean, the music career it's great. I love playing music. It's like having been on tour for the past 3 months or something, and I haven't been able to play music at all. The only time that I've played music is I've gone to music shops where we are, whichever cities we're in, and I get to have a few minutes like plunking away on some guitars that I don't know. I came back home last week and I played for the first time with the guys, and I was like, this means so much to me. It's so much more than just, rehearsal or even just hanging out with your mates, because it is, these are my mates, my two brothers, my best mate from school. It's a spiritual endeavor for me, and I need to do it. It is, it's as much a part of me as people who need to go for a run every day, people who need to, anything that fulfills your innermost desires. You have to do that, and I love doing it. We play once a week, and it's a hangout, and we play we just fucking jam the whole time, and we play some songs, and I want that to continue indefinitely. Whether we get anywhere with this album, I don't know. If it allows us to play some cool gigs, great. If it means that we're going to have to sell out and get, go on the road at the behest of someone that isn't us and have someone else control us, I don't think that's going to be right for us, because, my oldest brother's got 2 kids and a wife, and it's like he can't just
pick up and leave.
Exactly, yeah. I'd love to play
so right
some
now
cool
it's
gigs.
something you guys love to do.
Exactly,
to
yeah. Just to jam and play gigs. It's always nice being the centre of attention on stage, isn't it? I know you know that when you go out, when you walk out and there's a big crowd and you get everyone whipping up the crowd and take a photo of them. That's really fun.
Everybody makes fun of me for doing that, but I feel like the crowd needs that.
Yeah,
teasing.
Exactly. Yeah.
They may come out.
Yeah, exactly.
But, well, man, thank you for doing this. We love having you out here. The one thing I've noticed about you is of course, you're not jaded yet.
Yeah.
Which I hope you never become jaded. Yeah. I've been, when I started touring in 2007, one of the first veteran techs came to me that I toured with, and he said, just don't get jaded.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the every gig is a shit gig. And he goes, just be thankful that we get to play with fucking guitars every day.
Yeah.
So I try and keep that in mind every day. Some days are worse than others, but we've noticed that even in the most clutch cargo times on stage, I don't see you like just throwing things, and you kind of do it. You're very calm. It gets done, but it gets done right. So we've appreciated having you out here.
Thank you.
Especially Kev and I, because Kev has the worst rig. The worst rig to wire.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I always try to tell you, like, if I can help you, I don't mind, doing it.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, and that's appreciated. Like, I guess I've always had that thing in me of just being calm and trying not to freak out. Because as soon as you start panicking or freaking out or getting frustrated,
you make mistakes.
And it's never going to go smoothly.
And it doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone around you.
Yeah, and like, to be honest, I don't know. It looks unprofessional for me.
I think so.
Well, my whole thing, especially having that drilled into me by Dave Compton at Britannia Row, listen, mate, don't fuck it up. These are important clients.
Yeah.
It's like professionalism trumps everything for me. Like I want to be as professional as possible, and that means keeping a lid on your emotions, I think.
Yeah, there's a time to let that out.
Yeah.
It's just not on stage. It's just not directed towards the local hands, which can be challenging at times.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some great local guys, and we've had some that
Not
really
so great.
don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you tell them to do something, and then you have to go over a minute later and remind them what it is you said and how to do it, and you end up just doing it all yourself, and it means that a loadout will take twice as much time.
I know a guy at the last gig brought me a bunch of rolled up cables, and he put them on my work box, and he goes, "Are these yours?" And I said, "As you're pushing it, just hand it to the audio guy." I don't even want to look at them. I don't even want to look at the way they were rolled up.
Yeah. And then that's it. You have to spend a load of time re-rolling all your cables. It's like,
some people don't realize that that's something, because I went through that phase in my early days of playing in bands, and that you just roll the cable. You know, it took me to tour to learn how to properly roll a cable, but people don't realize that right there saves about 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just roll it properly.
And I'm kind of anal about it as well. I need to make sure it's all done correctly. Just, you know, it's a control thing for me.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's just when you turn up to a gig and your boxes arrive and you open it and it's just a shit mess.
Looks like spaghetti.
Exactly. And you spend time recoiling and unwinding. Oh god, yeah. But some of the locals are incredible. You know, they roll it really well, tape it all off. They do things before you ask them sometimes, and it's like, wow, they know what they're doing.
That's when at the end of the night you're like, okay, this one's gonna go easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, man, thank you for spending time with me.
Of course.
And like I said, I wanted to talk to you because this was your first tour, and I wanted to get your take on what you think of touring so far. I have one more question.
Yep.
The podcast is called "Is Breakfast Included?" And if it was included, Felix, what would you have?
I think I would have 2 pieces sourdough toast. Okay. I'd have 2 poached eggs on top. I'd have a short chorizo sausage cut lengthways down the middle and fried both sides, and an avocado.
Very specific.
Very specific, yeah.
Is that what you normally order when you go?
I never order it because I know that it's never gonna be as good as I can do it at home. So I'm just like, whatever, just bring me whatever eggs you're good at.
Does your band have a social media, Instagram or anything?
We do. We're called Recoba Official. So that's RECOBA _official. Recoba Official.
And that's on Instagram.
That's Instagram. Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Felix.
Thanks, Benny.
Right on. Felix Threadgill. Great guy, huh? I told him one time that's the most English name I've ever heard. Felix Threadgill. Anyway, you can find out more about Felix at his band's Instagram, Recoba _official. If you want to search him out on Instagram to find out his personal Instagram, you can do that too, but I ain't gonna give it to you. Anyway, all right, guys, I am done. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.